Hello everyone, welcome to another video. This time I want to show you how you can optimize the performance of your managed DevOps pools. So far in all my videos I used stateless agents. This means if you start a new pipeline or a new job inside the pipeline, a new agent is created. And this takes somewhere between 3 to 5, maybe up to 15 minutes. This means if your pipeline has, for example, 5 jobs, then 5 times a new agent is created, which means the pipeline will run forever because it has to wait for so long. Today I want to show you how you can use stateful agents to get around this problem and reuse the agent we have created. With this, let's switch to the terminal and let's deploy our Managed DevOps pool. First, let's define a couple variables. So we have here the name of our resource group, which will contain our Managed DevOps pool, and then a location that's close to me. Next, we're going to define the variables for the Managed DevOps pool. That's the name, the dev center name, and the project name. With this in place, let's create our resource group. After the resource group is created, we can create our dev center. I have a video explaining all the details about creating a Managed DevOps pool, so I'm not going over the details here, but I will link you the video in the description. And as always, I will provide a GitHub link where you can find the entire code and all the files I'm using today, so you can just easily follow the demos. Creating the dev center should take around 1 to 2 minutes, and after it's created, we'll continue with creating the dev center project. The dev center is created. Now we can create a project inside this dev center, and this again will take 1 to 2 minutes. And after the project is created, we can deploy our Managed DevOps pool. The dev center project is created, so let's clean up the terminal and deploy our Managed DevOps pool. As I said, I'm not going into any details, but while the DevOps pool is being created, let's have a look at these 3 configuration files. So let's switch over to the Visual Studio Code. And here we have the first file, the Fabric profile. And inside this file, we configure our virtual machine. So here we're using a standard D2. That's quite a small VM with 2 CPU cores and I think 8 GB of RAM. Then we are using Ubuntu 22.04 for our agent. And if you scroll further down, we are using a standard SSD. Next up, the organization profile. Here we configure our organization. This means the URL to our Azure DevOps organization. This also means if you follow my demo, you have to update this URL. Then we can configure here under projects, which projects should have access to our Managed DevOps pool. In this case, allow all the projects access. And all the way down, I set the permission to creator only. This means I am the only one who has access to manage this Managed DevOps pool. But here you could also set something, for example, inherit from the DevOps project. This means everyone in the project who has access can also access or manage this DevOps pool. Lastly, with the agent profile stateless file, this configures the agent. And in this case, first, we're just going to use a stateless agent. And we're going to use this agent to test how long it takes to run a pipeline with 2 jobs. After we did this, we'll update our Managed DevOps pool and switch over to stateful agent. But for now, we don't have to configure anything except saying that the agent is stateless. By now, the Managed DevOps pool should have been created. So let's switch over to the terminal and check. As I guessed, the Managed DevOps pool is deployed. This means we can go now to our Azure DevOps pipeline, run the pipeline, and then we see how long it takes. Here in Azure DevOps, I've already prepared a pipeline. As said before, the pipeline will also be part of the GitHub. So let's run the pipeline, and then we're going to take a look at the implementation. What's also important, the first time you use a new agent pool, you have to grant the pipeline permission. So you just click on permit twice here, and this should kick off the pipeline. So now let's take a look at the pipeline itself. What's important is if you change the name of your Managed DevOps pool, then you also have to update it here. Then we're going to create one stage, and this stage has two jobs. As you can see here is the first job and the second job. And as you can see, they don't do anything except that they run a script with a simple echo. But what's happening behind the scenes is that Azure is now creating a new agent for the first job. That's this job number 1. Then it runs the script. And after the script is finished, the job is finished. This means that our agent is being destroyed. Then Azure sees there's a second job and creates a new agent. This means we have to wait again a couple minutes until our agent is created. Since we have two jobs and creating an agent takes around 3 minutes, running this pipeline will take 6.5, maybe 7 minutes. So I'm going to stop the video here, and once the pipeline is finished, we're going to take a look how long it took, and then we're going to update our Managed DevOps pool to use stateful agents. The pipeline should be finished now, so let's go back to the pipeline and see how long it took. There we can see it's finished, and it took 4 minutes 22 seconds. That's quite fast because the first time I tested it, you can see down here, it took more than 6 minutes. If you take a look at the jobs itself, we can see both jobs only took 1 second. So we waited more than 4, sometimes more than 6 minutes just to run 2 seconds of scripts. That's not great, especially the test pipeline only had 2 jobs. Like real world pipelines have multiple of jobs, so you have to wait a very long time. To optimize this, we can use stateful agents. So let's go back to the terminal, let's update our pool, and then we take a look at what stateful agents are. Back in the terminal, let's clean this up. Now we're going to update our existing Managed DevOps pool. What's interesting is here this agent profile file, because now I'm using the agent profile stateful file. While our Managed DevOps pool is updating, let's take a look at this file. So here, that's the one we used before. It was just stateless, and now we're using stateful, and we have 2 parameters for this. The maximum agent lifetime. This means how long can our agent live? So here I configured 7 days. I think that's also the default value. This means if your agent just lives because there are always jobs to run, after 7 days, the agent will be recycled and you create a new one. Then the second parameter is the grace period. This means how long does your agent wait without any jobs to run until it's also terminated. Here I configured 5 minutes, but you have to test what works best for your project, for your company. You also have to keep in mind, if the agent is running, you're paying for the virtual machine. So in this case, if I only run one job, then my agent is created, runs the pipeline, and waits for 5 minutes. This means I have to pay for the additional 5 minutes. Therefore, you should find a time value that's not too short, because you don't want to create a new agent all the time, but also not too long, because you don't want to pay without using it. By now, the agent pool should be updated, so let's quickly check. And yeah, the agent pool is updated. This means we are now using a stateful agent. So let's move over to the Azure DevOps pool and run our pipeline again. So just saying run new, to fully test this, I'm going to run the pipeline twice. So the first time, right now, a new agent is created. And for the second job, the pipeline is already using the existing agent. This means the second job should be executed very quickly. And when I run the pipeline again, then there's already an agent for the first job. This means both jobs should be executed very fast. So this will take a couple minutes again. I'm going to stop the video, start another pipeline, and once both pipeline runs are finished, I will be back. Both pipelines already finished, and as you can see, both only took 46 and 41 seconds. I have to admit, I'm not sure why the first pipeline was so quick, because I would have expected that a new agent is being created and then this agent is being reused. But when I check in the Azure portal, I can see that there are already two agents, the one I used before and the new one. So it's possible that during the update, maybe a new agent was created. But I have to admit, I'm not entirely sure. But anyways, the point is, I wanted to show you with the stateful agent, we can speed up our pipelines immensely. So the first one with the stateless took 4 minutes, which was already really fast in my experience. Usually it takes 3 minutes, around 3 minutes per agent creation. This means the pipeline should have taken around 6.5 minutes. And now we could decrease it to less than a minute. That's already everything I wanted to show you today. With stateful agents, we can reuse our agents and immensely speed up our pipeline execution. And also Microsoft has acknowledged that this is a problem, and they're working on a solution right now to speed up the creation of new agents. But as of mid of April, we don't have a solution yet. It's on the roadmap and it should be implemented soon. Maybe I'm going to make an update video once it's deployed or released. But for now, I think stateful agents are a great way to speed up our pipelines and make them even more efficient. That's everything. If you like the videos and you want to see more about Azure DevOps, Managed DevOps Pools, Azure in general, subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments what you think of these videos, if you have any questions or ideas for more videos, and I will see you back next week, hopefully.